Hey kids, let's compress your socks off. Yeah! It's compression time, baby. I want to show you some creative ways to use compression, not just the boring like, I put it on my vocal and I do L1176 and then I put a LA2A on it and I compress just a little bit of that. I don't care about any of that shit. Let's get into some really fun shit. Let's go. Compression. Bam, bam, bam. Mixing series. Mix it up. All right, let's get into some compression and make it fun and creative. Compression's fun again. Compression's really pretty boring, but we're gonna show you some fun stuff to do with it. Cause this is the mix series, baby. Let me play you some of this song from Josh Rose that I'm producing. It's called Heatwave, and then I'll show you some cool stuff. Check it out.
She takes a tolerance. She's getting off on your pursuit. So bring an audience just to make a fool of you. Isn't it obvious? She's gonna take your heart and run. It makes me nauseous, the things that she will do for fun. She's a bad little bitty, burning up the city. She's a bad little lady in a murdered out Mercedes. Oh, you, ooh, I don't think I'm ready for you. She's a heat wave, fire is her type. She's a freak, babe, lady.
All right, that's all you get, all right? But yeah, let's talk about some creative ways to use compression. First of all, I already have some compression, of course, on the actual vocal with an 1176 Fairchild, and then CLA Vocals is using some parallel compression with the push in here. So one thing I love to do, one of my favorite things with creative, using compression creatively, is I like to compress my returns. So, for example, I'm going to send this to a reverb, like let's say this lexicon here, and this is the lead vocal. I wanted it to be really dry, but something that you can really do to add excitement to certain words, which I do all the time, and I think it's really, really cool, is to do like reverb throws or turn on and off compression on the return, okay? So this is something maybe you've done before, or maybe you're like, whoa, I've never heard of that. That's super dope. But that's something I love doing, so I'm going to show you kind of how I do that. So here's the push. The bus 8 is sending to the lexicon here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring on a compressor. API is fine. It doesn't matter what compressor you use. Let's just pick a preset that's going to give us some compression, which could be like smashing a room or whatever. Let's go, here we go, backing vocals, right? So let's make sure it's compressing pretty good. And the attack, I like it to be probably a little bit slower than really fast, especially considering this is a reverb, so it's going to have time to kind of like hit and then compress. So that, and then we're going to go, let's go 4-1. I think that's good. I'm just setting this up real quick for you. Medium, let's go soft on the knee actually. And then we'll go medium, new school's cool. I'm just setting up the compressor, and then when I have this 8, I'm not sending any more to this bus, first of all. Okay, so let's listen to this and really try to compress the reverb so that it comes way up, and you bring all the low-level information up.
So bring an audience just to make a fool of you. Isn't it obvious? She's gonna take your heart and run. It makes me nauseous.
So now we have a really cool like compressed reverb, which is like bringing that reverb out, right? Like we're hearing it really well. So one thing you can do now is you can literally just automate this reverb. In Logic, it's pretty simple. You go to the mixer, go to your auxiliary track, right? So this is like aux 8. We'll label this vocal verb, vox verb. And then we'll right click on that and we'll create a track. And the reason I'm doing this is so I can use the automation lane, right? So here I'm just going to zoom in enough to where we can find different segments and different parts that we really want to punctuate, okay? Instead of having to like double or do ad libs or stacks, I'm using compression creatively to bring the reverb out. You could do the same thing with delays, right? Like you want it to feel like it's kind of tucked into the mix and you don't really want to hear the delays or the splash echo or whatever. But then you can turn a compressor on and you can automate it on and off so that when you want certain words punctuated, you can. So that's what we're doing here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit A for automation. I'm going to go to the API. Sometimes in Logic, what you have to do is you have to turn it on and off, like bypass it to get the lane. So let's just do that really quick. So I'm just basically going to bypass in and out the API.
She takes a tolerance. She's getting off on your pursuit. So bring an audience just to make a fool of you. Isn't it obvious?
So I just had it on touch, so it's just kind of turning on and off. I'm not really trying to do that. But here we go. Let's turn it back to read. And now we can find and punctuate just certain words where we're going to compress that return. So, you know, this is bypassed, this is unbypassed. So we want to make sure that everything's usually or typically bypassed. And then we're just going to draw in the parts where we want it to be on, right? So now I'm just going to listen and look for different parts I want to punctuate. Like even that tolerance line is really cool to just turn it on and see what it does with it, right? So she takes a tolerance, like it gets bigger, right? So I'll just find that part, and I think it's right here. And I'll take this and we'll draw it, right? And then I'm going to unbypass it. So this is what that sounds like now.
She takes a tolerance.
And you see how that just like the tolerance like jumps out? So you can do this as well with delays. You could do this with stereo spreading, like I do that a lot. But you know, when you have a vocal where you want it, because this is a big part of mixing, is that you start setting everything and it's sounding really good in certain spots, right? And you want to find the mix for the vocal, the lead vocal, the chorus vocal, all the things the parts, you want to leave that. You want to have your chain left alone, right? And you want to do like parallel processing, or you want to do throws to make things exciting, rather than like, oh, I'm going to automate the EQ on the vocal chain, and then later you have to go and like mess with all these things that you did on the actual track. And that just slows you down, but it also ruins your mix. Your mix can fall apart really quickly because now you've gone and done all this stuff on this main vocal channel instead of like having, you know, sends where you're doing the creative stuff on the sends and the returns. So this is just a great, really creative way to use compression. I hope you loved it. I'm trying to make these really short, these little mixing series. So that's it. Like just automate on and off with compression. Some compressors have mid-side mode. So that's a really fun thing to do, is that you can, you know, have the sides really smashing, and then the middle you can have, you can have the middle smashing and the sides out, or the side smashing and the middle out, and just kind of like, you know, bypass it in and out, or you can even blend it in, right? As you're going, you could compress harder the reverb as you get up into a chorus or a pre-chorus area, right? So the compressor starts to compress harder and harder and starts bringing up the gain a little bit. And then the verb starts coming up and up and up to, instead of like driving a send, you know, to the verb, which can change the character a lot of the different, you know, effects you're using. So this is just a technique. Also, compressors have their own sounds. They have, you know, some have saturation to them. Some of them are mid-side, like I talked about. Some of them can compress really fast. Some are really gooey and kind of glue things together. But the best part about a compressor on a reverb or delay return is that you're not just bringing up the reverb. You're not just turning it up. You're not just sending more of the signal to the reverb. You're literally bringing up the low-level information of the reverb return, which is completely different. It just gives much more sonic quality, and it also can make a record sound really modern. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. So there it is. You can get really creative with compression. Compression's not boring. It's fun. There's a lot of different things going on in compressors. Even the plugins, saturation, you know, we can compress and bring up reverbs and delays and do all sorts of really fun stuff with it. If you want to learn more about mixing and using compression and different plugins that I use, and you want like full-on video tutorials that are, 4+ hours of like broken down modules, then join the Radium Roundtable, baby. Click that link in the description, join it. It's $5 a month, cancel anytime. You're gonna get $50,000 a month in value from it. I mean, I hope you get $1 million of value from it. But seriously, it's gonna be really good. And also we do live song reviews every Wednesday and Saturday, and a part of being in the roundtable is that you get to cut the line. And that's pretty rad, right? All right, well, thanks for tuning in, and go compress some shit. Peace.